All right, 1 2 1 2, the place to be. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing out there? I am Frank Red, and this is the In the Dungeon Show, NBA playoff edition of the In the Dungeon Show, as I said. And thank you for joining me on the late night tip. I'm not quite sure where you are watching, listening to the program, but I see Vicky out there. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate you. And anybody else, like I said, who wants to comment on the New York Knicks Indiana Pacers game. The Knicks lose game 2, 114-109. And this is a gut punch for all Knicks fans around the world, because you walk away from this game thinking that we should have won. No disrespect to Indiana, but we had the Pacers in our building with our crowd having given away game 1. As miraculous as Tyrese Halliburton was to send the game into overtime, he should have won it. You know, his foot was on the line. He should have won it. The Knicks were up 9 points with what? 50 seconds to go? Up 14 with 2+ minutes to go, and they lost. If you play basketball or any competitive sport long enough, you're going to have some of those losses. And you never get them out of your memory. I don't care how old you are, they live with you forever. That game 1 loss will live with the Knicks forever, because these two teams are really close. They really are. So we knew we expected the series to go 6 or 7 games, maybe 7. They're down 0-2 now. Do they have a chance to go to Indiana and win game 3? Yeah, they do. Do I expect them to win? I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks win, but I don't expect them to win. If I said that, I would be a fan. And I'm a student of the game first. I'm a fan second. Even my team, the Knicks. I've been a fan of the Knicks since I was a little kid. I still got to look at what I see. And Rick Carlisle has already won an NBA title. And he's out coaching Tom Thibodeau. Does it mean that Tom Thibodeau is not a good coach? No, it doesn't mean that at all. I'm not going to sit up here and play Monday morning quarterback or critique him, micromanage his coaching style. But I do know basketball, and I do see some decisions that Tom Thibodeau made that really put the Knicks in a bad situation. This was not one of his finest moments. And you can kind of tell how he was feeling at the press conference. Very short answers. Talked about, having a shot to tie the game to go into overtime. Internally, I think he's replaying the game himself and saying, you know what? This is not my best effort. A lot of times fans are one or two ways. They're either bathing coaches with genius oil, or they're telling you what bums they are. I'm not going to do that. I'm a coach myself. I don't care what level you coach at. You're still a coach. And I was a player. These losses are tough because of a lack of execution. Indiana is executing better than the Knicks offensively and defensively. As a defensive player, when I see mental mistakes, it bothers me, because that's how you lose. And the Knicks should not be making the mistakes that they're making. Now, there's some reasons for it. Tibbs doesn't play his bench. As much as we love Jalen Brunson at the end of the game is tired. particularly on the defensive end. He had 38, he had 39 points, 11 assists, brilliant offensive player, tough, gritty. But he can't keep opposing guards in front of him, which is okay if the Knicks are up 8, 9, or they were up 14 the last game. So maybe that doesn't matter either. But I think the game was won and lost when the Knicks went to the bench and when Indiana went to their bench. That's when the game was lost. You better ask somebody. McConnell, TJ McConnell, he might be the best backup point guard in the NBA. Because when he looks at opposing point guards coming off the bench, he's ready to cook. He cooked Deuce McBride tonight. Deuce McBride played 25 minutes. What is Deuce McBride playing 25 minutes in a game 2 of an Eastern Conference Finals? Are you kidding me? That's on Tibbs. He didn't play the kid from Marquette. He won't play right. Your job as a backup point guard is to hold the fort. That's it. No one's telling you to come off the bench and outscore your opponent by X amount of points, but you can't get lapped. TJ McConnell had 10 points and 4 assists in 14 minutes. Now, those 14 minutes were crucial. Those were starters' minutes. Everybody who's watching this program now, everybody who's watching on television, listening to the radio, was saying to themselves collectively, when is Tibbs going to put Jalen back in? Now, he played 39 minutes. I get it. But, again, I'm not going to play Monday morning quarterback, but how can you have Mitchell Robinson and Cat Towns on the same team with Mikal Bridges, OG, and play no zone in a zone era of NBA basketball? How many times did we see Indiana and TJ McConnell just dart to the basket? The Knicks clearly can't cover corner threes. That's just hey, Tibbs has done a good job this year, right? But I tell you what, if the Knicks get swept, if they don't show up in game 3 and 4, you're going to start to hear some rumblings about whether or not he should be the coach. And it sucks. It's a tough-ass business. But when you haven't won a championship since 1973, and this is your best chance to do it, we got some conversations, man. I'm glad that I'm not a hysterical fan. I'm not. Because if you ask now, I'm going to say this. New York Knicks fans know the game. They're probably breaking it down like I am. But if you're just a hysterical fan, ebbs and flows, living and dying with every play, then you're really missing what's going on. Because this game was about execution and coaching decisions. That's what it was about. Because these two teams are razor thin in terms of talent, in totality. Because Indiana's pace is a lot better than the Knicks, and their bench is better. And I think they're more disciplined. This is an impromptu edition of the In the Dungeon show. So we're going to do our thing again on Sunday, and we'll be able to get in depth a little bit. But as a Knicks fan, and I said this on Twitter, and I'll say it here, even if the Knicks win the championship, which is a long shot at this point, if they got a chance to go get Giannis, they got to do it. Now, I know Vicky and Warrior fans out there listening like, Red, what are you talking about? Giannis is going to be on the Warriors next year. Yeah? Well, go do it. Go make that happen. Go make it happen. I would not be disappointed by that. But if I'm the Knicks and I got the assets that I have, and Giannis doesn't want to be able to walk anymore, I got to try to make that happen. Vicky says, sorry about your Knicks, Red. Thank you for being sympathetic and kind to me. The Warriors have lost a lot of games that way. Yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? Aussie Rules, how you doing, brother? Yeah, man. I had to do a show for Knicks fans. I don't know how many Knicks fans listen to the show, but I had to do one anyway because, you know, that's a gut punch, man. I mean, literally, you could rob a bank on Friday night in Manhattan from 8 to 10 at night because the Knicks were playing. That's how big that game was. And to lose and go down 0-2 to a good Indiana team. That's not a great team. It's not a great team. Vicky says, New York Knicks would love Steve Kerr, but to some fans around here, think Kerr's a bum. Yeah, Kerr's no bum. That's for damn sure. Kerr coaches a beautiful brand of basketball. I mean, he does. We got a lot of time to talk about Kerr and, you know, how the Warriors move forward. We can do some of that tonight as well, but we're going to do a lot of that on Sunday. My main issue with Steve Kerr is everybody's issue with him. He does not develop players. And oh, by the way, Tom Thibodeau does not play a lot of players. And when I look at the Knicks now, OG and Mikal Bridges kind of do some of the same stuff. Neither one of them is a fluid scorer. Neither one of them. So in the half court, they both struggle. OG's only offensive weapon is offensive rebounding, and if he gets on one, then he can make a corner three. Mikal Bridges is a good player, but his ball handling skills are not top notch for a small forward position, so he gets stuck. And he winds up taking a lot of bad shots. The Knicks are pretty predictable offensively. They really are. I still would make the Cat trade. I like Cat as a Knick over Julius Randle. I didn't want to see Dante go, but I get it. But the thing about Cat is this Cat's just not physical. And some people might think that the officiating is too physical. I love how they are officiating the games, particularly in the Knicks series. You know, if there's contact when you go up for a layup. Yeah. And if you don't go up strong, you're going to miss that layup, and they're not going to call a foul for you. So I don't have a problem with the officials. I have a problem with the lack of execution by the Knicks. Alex says, A's baseball. Fire? What do you mean by that, Alex? They lost, what, 9 straight? Now they called up 5 prospects. We'll see how they do. But, you know, I don't really talk A's baseball. I love them, but I don't talk about them because of what they did to Oakland. I can't go for that. Glendocious, Mike Malone is looking real good Knicks if they get swept in this series. Has to be considered. NBA champion. I mean, when you walk around with that on your business card as a head coach, Thibodeau's won an NBA title as the defensive coordinator of the Boston Celtics, and he's a hell of a coach. But coaches are stubborn. They're so stubborn. You know, the good ones have really top-notch assistants that they trust, and they grudgingly go against their tendencies and listen to their assistant coaches. Sometimes that's the only way that you can move the needle as a head coach. To think that New York is only playing 7, maybe 8 guys off the bench when you play damn near 100 games at this point? Come on, man. Look what Rick Carlisle did. He threw in the center, can't think of his name right now, you guys will know who I'm talking about, from North Carolina, who they signed on a 10-day contract. Literally 3 to 5 games before the season was over. And what is he doing? He's putting him out there now playing center. He played probably 8 to 12 minutes tonight. Valuable minutes. I mean, I'm most disappointed that the Knicks are not playing their bench because clearly they're getting cooked. Deuce McBride, the fact that Deuce McBride is in the NBA prospering is a credit to him. I got all the respect in the world for Deuce McBride, but he got cooked tonight. Out of position a couple of times. Couldn't keep TJ McConnell in front of him. Wasn't really making shots. And I know his plus minus was, he was like a +5. A lot of times plus minuses don't tell the real story. That was bad. When Jalen Brunson was out of the game, the Knicks were just terrible. When it mattered. Eddie, KS24, what's up? Jeez, Big Hurt. Y'all have to flip it on them in Indiana. Can't be a split or consider it over New York. Not quite sure of that one. We need to play well, Eddie. There's no question about that. Vicky says, Knicks can have JK for Cat. Kerr would love that. The only person Cat's going to be traded for is Giannis. That's it. Cat's a good player. Cat's an all-star. And yet he got benched tonight. Mitchell Robinson is just, he's a bull in there. No professional should shoot 50% from the free throw line. Jesus. That's just god-awful. But that man plays hard. Mitchell Robinson plays really hard. And he was effective tonight. He really was. But, he's a walking turnover. Can't make a free throw. Because Ant-Man is looking overwhelmed. Yeah, he is. He is. And you know what's funny, Vicky, because I'm going to be careful a little bit with Ant-Man. And I'm going to tell you why. I was talking to somebody today about him because he has not played really well. And the networks try to fool you. They say, oh yeah, well he had a good game in game 2. No, he didn't. He had 32 points. He shot 1 for 9 from 3-point range. When is that good? They were never really in the game. But the networks don't want to, they want to give you something to feel good about. But Minnesota's not playing well. And Ant-Man is not playing at the level that we think he can play at. Shea Alexander, he's playing his game. Doing what he needs to do. His usage rate is really high. But OKC is a better team than Minnesota. I thought Minnesota could possibly win. But watching these two teams, Gobert's not even really in the series at this point. He's off the court. Mike Conley Jr. played really well against the Warriors because Steph wasn't out there. The Warriors would have given OKC a much better run than Minnesota. Why? Because of half-court execution. If you don't execute well, OKC's going to turn you over. As simple as that. Vicky says, the moment is tough for a lot of people. It really is, which is why we appreciate the stars, the real stars, right? I was watching the show, maybe Get Up this morning, and they made a statement. They said, for the 7th consecutive year, we're going to have a new NBA champion. And I'm not surprised by that. I remember I think I mentioned it before. I was on the show and we were talking about that, and I said, there's not going to be any dynasties. That's not going to happen. If something crazy happens in San Antonio, they might get on a run, but they got a young coach, so it's probably not going to happen. Because teams are good, but they're not great, and it's hard to keep these teams together. But what do y'all think about this? I mean, do the Knicks have a shot? I mean, I'm not in here with pom-poms. I just want to see some changes by Tom Thibodeau. If he goes to Indiana and tries to do the same thing that he's done the last 2 games, because it was inexplicable to watch Jalen Brunson in game 1. He turned the ball over, like 3-4 times in a row? Very uncharacteristic of Jalen. But why did he do that? Because he was tired. And he still made 6 straight free throws. When you see a player make a clutch free throws, a couple of clutch free throws, I got so much respect for those players, because I've been in those situations where I've come through and made free throws and I've missed some. But it starts and ends in practice, man. OG missed one, Cat missed one, Mitchell Robinson. I mean, can you really win a championship if a team can foul your player? I don't think so. I'm going to go back to the early 2000s. A lot of people may not remember this, or they might. But I remember when I was covering the Sacramento Kings, and this was game 7. After Ori had hit the game 6 shot. Game 7, the Lakers won that game, but there was some real tense moments, right? And the Kings still had a chance. But one guy on the Lakers stepped to the line and made 4 straight free throws in a row to really kind of solidify that game. Who do you think that was? It was Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq, who probably has the most unattractive free throw shooting form I've ever seen before. But yet, Shaq knocked down 4 straight free throws. And when people looked at his shooting percentage, you know what Shaq said? I make them when it counts. And he wasn't lying. Shaq made tough free throws when it mattered. And they would not have won that championship that year if it wasn't for Shaq. I think that Sacramento Kings team, the one that lost to Game 6 Robert Horry, that might be one of the best NBA teams in history never to win a championship. That Kings team, I would take that. I mean, that Kings team right now in their prime was unbelievable. Jimmy, I stand corrected. He said Chuck Hayes free throws. Now, you're right, man. Chuck Hayes free throw shooting form will make you cry. Oh, man. And here's the irony. Chuck was a tough player. Really good player. Now works in the front office for the Golden State Warriors. But his free throw form was god-awful. No one should be taught how to shoot free throws like that. And yet, a guy who could barely make a free throw, probably couldn't make a shot outside of 14 feet, played, 6-7 years in the NBA, maybe? Out of Modesto Christian. 6'6", 6'7". Chuck and I, probably damn near the same size. So when guys who are similar build to me make it to the league, I'm ecstatic. And Chuck Hayes was tough physical player. But that was funny. You are right, Jimmy. But yeah, man, it was tough watching that game tonight because it wasn't like the Knicks played bad. They didn't play bad. They didn't play bad. They didn't play good enough. And Indiana just executed better, defensively and offensively. I mean, and like with Thibodeau, I mean, how can you not play some zone? When you got a guy who head fakes his way to the rim or to a 6-footer whenever he's in the game. I'm talking about TJ McConnell, one of the smartest players in the NBA. He's only biding his time. He's probably going to be maybe an NBA head coach, certainly a high major D1 NBA head coach. He's just so freaking smart. So when you play a guy like TJ McConnell, you got to match him from the neck up. And most guys don't. They don't. What does he do? He beats you down the court. I mean, he's an asset. When you can bring in a backup point guard and get double figures, multiple assists, and don't turn the ball over. Vicky says the Kings had that championship stolen because the ref had a bet on the game. The ref went to prison for it. Really? Oh, that was the guy who he did that game? I know you're joking. Or maybe not. But I was at the game. And Doug Christie did not play well. And Peja Stojakovic did not play well. They had terrible games. One of the things that I feel good about that particular game, that series, and that season was as dominant as Chris Webber was at Michigan. Chris Webber was a better NBA player. Chris Webber played his best basketball against the Lakers and against the Jazz. I'm just talking about some of the greatest players of all time. Chris Webber against Karl Malone balled out. Chris Webber against the Kobe and Shaq Lakers played his tail off. The moment was never too big for Chris Webber. Never. A guy can hold, the first 5 years of his career was kind of like party time. But when he got to Sacramento, he got right. Another reason why I wanted to do the show is because look at what Sac has done over the years. Now, Sabonis has been okay. Maybe better than okay. He's made an all-star team, and he's a good NBA player. Tyrese Halliburton is one of the best point guards in the NBA. You had De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton on the same team, and you ultimately traded both players. And you got what back? Come on, man. That's crazy to me. Warrior fans, be lucky that Joe Lacob is your owner. All the machinations, the involvement, his sons, and all, we're going to win a championship, we're light years ahead, all that stuff. Okay. Everything has to go through him. Okay? Everything has to go through him, which is why I'm kind of holding out hope with the Jonathan Kuminga deal. Because he likes Kuminga for good reasons. And if he has to let him go, it's going to be for somebody like a Giannis. It's not going to be for Cam Johnson. Definitely not straight up. Cam Johnson and somebody else who's good, okay. But I want to see Kuminga command somebody who's going to come in and get the Warriors to that next level. Cam Johnson doesn't do that. I put out a tweet earlier today, and I said, Obi Toppin. Imagine if Obi Toppin was still on the Knicks bench. That dude rotted on the bench for 3 years in New York. Could not get off the bench. Know anybody like that, folks? He goes to Indiana 1 year and starts making an immediate contribution to knock off the Knicks last year. He didn't have a great game today, but he's clearly a player. Got a nice contract, a $50 million contract. Now, Kuminga's in a different level. The Warriors would run to the bank to give him $50 million, not $150 million. But you guys understand what I'm saying? Jonathan Kuminga could very easily go to another organization and be a home run from the start. Nick Fry says, sorry for your Knicks, Frank. Much love, man. Nick, thank you, brother. It's Friday night, man. Late Friday night. You checking me out. Checking us out. I appreciate you. Vicky says, I think Joe would pay the tax to get Giannis. I don't doubt that. Because, Giannis is an ATM machine. NBA organizations, NBA teams are situated to make money because of smart accountants. They have this superficial salary cap in place that they control. The owners say, listen, players, we're going to give you 50% of the revenues that we come together on. All this other stuff that we make money off, don't worry about that. The parking, don't worry about that. Selling shares, don't worry about that. If I was the owner, I'd be on board too. Even if you think it's a good investment, you still got to pay real money. The Boston Celtics are going to sell for $6 billion. Somebody got to pay that. They got to make their money back, man. The Warriors are worth, what, 8 or 9 billion, excuse me? They know how to run a business. They do. I'm at the point now, if I go to a game, when you're a lot younger and you want to go to concessions, maybe you all go out, you get yourself a couple of beers and, cheese, chips, chicken, burgers. I don't touch any of that stuff, man. First of all, I can't digest it. Second of all, the prices are crazy. I'd rather wait and go out and go eat after the game. But they make a lot of money in the NBA. This is crazy. The Valkyries have been a home run. Think about this. I thought 2-3 years, and I'm not saying the Valkyries are going to have a winning record this year. I don't think they are. But I tell you what, they look pretty darn good. They took out the Sparks tonight on the road. Lighty, the young lady who got drafted by Dallas last year, that's your starting point guard. She's your starting point guard, Lighty. And LaRon, the Valkyries' first round pick from France, she's good too. They're off to a hell of a start. They really are. So, Vicky says Giannis would still be around when Steph retires. Yeah, Giannis is 30. Giannis would be that true transition player that the Warriors management, ownership, and fans would love to have. Vicky says eat before and after the game. I agree with you. I agree, but it's a mentality though. I think when you are of a certain age, you think about those things. You know, when you just are experiencing professional sports or college sports, maybe for the first time, you want to enjoy any and everything that it has to offer. I've been fortunate to have gone to a lot of professional games. Most of them I covered, actually. But when, you know, a couple of NBA teams come to town, I get some tickets. So I go check it out. Is this Fossey? Valkyries will have a winning record. Book it. I hope so. I'm impressed with what I see so far. Giannis is a pipe dream. I think you're probably right, but tell me, where's Giannis going to go? Because he's not going to go to some bum-ass team. He's not. You know that. You know? So who are the teams that can potentially put a package together? Certainly San Antonio can. Does he want to live in San Antonio? I guess no state tax. They like to talk about that with regards to Texas. He would be playing with, obviously, the next great player in the NBA, in Victor Wembanyama, going on the premise that everything is great with him and he recovers well. They could be an incredible twosome. There's no doubt about that. It'll be interesting to see what San Antonio would have to give up to get Giannis. But I think they have the package. They can definitely put a package. There are two teams that can step out in front of everybody else and say, listen, this is what we can put on the table. San Antonio and Houston. Houston has quality players up and down their lineup. They could give up Jabari Smith. They could give up Reed Shepherd. You know, they could throw in Hicks, Eason, and Milwaukee would be decent. They wouldn't be great, but they would be decent. Jabari Smith's a good player. He's going to average 20 points a game when he gets an opportunity. And I am one of the biggest Reed Shepherd supporters. Ime Udoka, I respect the hell out of him as a coach, but Reed Shepherd is nice. Maybe he'll get an opportunity next year. Aussie Root says Giannis is a generational player. Yeah, he is. Vicky says $10 for a soda. Man, isn't that crazy? Is that nuts? And most of those Pepsis are not even cold. $10? No cash. All credit. Now, Vicky, you say Dallas can. Can you name some of those players? Who? I mean, they don't want to give up Lively, but I guess they would. Who else would they give up? I mean, they got some pieces, but I'm not as intrigued by Dallas if I'm in Milwaukee. I'm looking at Houston. I'm looking at San Antonio. Because of JK, the Warriors have a chance. Yeah, if I'm the Warriors, I'm looking at Brook Lopez because I think they can afford him. I might cross my fingers and knock on DeAnthony Milton's door again. That was just a bummer because that guy's a good player, and his season was taken from him last year. Obviously, if the Warriors wanted to get back into the DeAnthony Milton business again, it would be at a lot less price, a lot less money. Last year, he made $10 million. He didn't even play. If the Warriors could get him for the veterans minimum, which is probably somewhere between $3 and $5 million, I think I would probably do that. because he's a major upgrade in the backcourt with Steph. Brook Lopez, I think he still has another year or two. He shoots the three. He's a big physical body. Yeah, you know what? Those two pieces, DeAnthony Milton and Brook Lopez, and you haven't even, at that point, maybe you look at keeping Kuminga. If the Warriors keep Kuminga and they can get a Brook Lopez, I think Brook probably wants to start. If he wants to start, then I would bring Draymond off the bench. I would. Vicky would add a first-round pick in with the Giannis deal. But what is that first-round pick worth? The Warriors need a point guard to get the non-Steph minutes. Yeah, they do. And Pod should not be starting. We have to stop that. Stop it. When really good players see Pods, they lick their chops. They go like that. When really good players match up against him. When players who don't know the game match up against Pods, Pods eats those guys alive because he's smart. He knows how to play. But at the top of the food chain, everybody's smart. Everybody understands what their responsibilities are. So you got to make plays. And I think the biggest thing that Pods needs to do is he has to become a much better catch and shoot player. He takes a lot of shots and he misses a lot of shots. No one who shoots those percentages, I would say, well, I don't know what Pods shoots right now because he eats on average teams. He does. But against really good teams, doesn't play as well. So I think the Warriors need to upgrade there. Bring him off the bench. They like him. I think he's a good asset for the team. But playing 39 minutes, no way. So my name is Frank Red. Hit the like button. I just remembered to do that. Subscribe to the show if you haven't done that before. If you're listening for the first time, we do this generally on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Then the Dungeon Show. We're real content centric. We like to have fun. Generally talk about sports, music, hip hop, entertainment in terms of I go to the movies a lot. Ironically, I did not go to the movies tonight, obviously. I will see about that tomorrow. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, the big movie is Mission Impossible. I think I'm going to sit that out until next week and then maybe go check that one out. But there has to be something out there that would pique my interest. Yeah, I'm just bummed right now, man. I'm bummed because you can hope and pray, but generally, when you're down 0-2 against a good team, it's a wrap. Now, can the Knicks come back against Indiana? They can, but it's not probable. I'm not going to be coming on air talking about how, they're going to come back. I want to see them play one complete game. If the Knicks win game 3 in Indiana and they play a complete game, which they're capable of doing, then I can take another look at it. But right now, there's so many players who they have not been able to stop. Siakam is good, but is Siakam 38, 39 point good? Particularly when you have somebody like, Mikal Bridges, who we all thought was that dude. After watching Mikal Bridges play, what I think is he's a good player. He's definitely a starter, a very good player, but he's probably going to be, your fourth best offensive player. And OG Anunoby is probably going to be your third best offensive player. I don't know if those guys have enough offensively to get to the finish line. I don't. When I look at a guy like Jason Williams on OKC, I see a guy who's capable of averaging 20-plus points a game. Chet Holmgren is the real deal. That dude is going to put some crazy numbers up. Chet Holmgren's going to be averaging 20 points a game, 22, 12, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, a couple of threes a game. That's why when I look at a guy like Quentin Post, I tell Warrior fans, Chet Holmgren might be skinny, but he's not soft at all. He's very physical. He's very tough. So size doesn't always tell the real story. Quentin Post, if he wants to have an NBA career, it's there for him. If he wants to have it, but it's up to him. You know, if you're 7'1" with a shooting touch like that, you should be eating in the NBA for over 10 years. But you can't be a liability on defense. You can't. Patrick Sheehan says, what do you think of Tibbs? Tibbs is stubborn. That's what I think of Tibbs. It's hard to be stubborn at the top of the food chain. You can't. You gotta be creative. And running your guys in the ground when they're clearly tired. I'm not on board with this Tibbs plays his players too much narrative. I'm not there. I'm saying develop guys off your bench. That's all. I can't think. Who's the kid who the rookie who played at Marquette? The left-handed kid. Talented guy. Why can't he get on the floor? Because he can't guard? Play some zone. Play some zone. He can pass his ass off. He can't play 7-8 minutes a game. Key says small forward Cameron Johnson and picks 18 and 26 from the Nets. Well, get it, Frank, for Kuminga. I think you're probably right. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I've never heard Steve Kerr say, I love Jonathan Kuminga as a player. I've never heard that. We like JK. Yeah, we can see it. He can do some things. But those rebounds, he gotta go get those rebounds. And, we got a set of guys right now in the rotation. Okay. He doesn't love Jonathan Kuminga. Doesn't. And I mean, at some point, a decision has to be made. Cameron Johnson with 2 first-round picks. I don't even think they would do that, Keith. I don't. I think the Warriors would do that. Patrick said, Thibs, laugh out loud. What does that mean? You have a different analysis? Do you think he's not good? You think I'm underrating him? How do you feel? Dallas could give up the first pick for Giannis. I'm joking, but can you imagine some of the thoughts that would go through the minds of Maverick fans for Nico Harrison if that happened? We don't want Nico to go through that again. Even though I was on board with Anthony Davis trade. Call me stupid, call me crazy. You could argue that they should have gotten more. I'm okay with that. But when management says we don't want to pay this guy $350 million, okay. See, it was a card game. A lot of fans don't understand this. because the Lakers are not the original team of Luka. They don't have to bid against themselves. They can't, by the bylaws of the NBA, pay Luka $300+ million. They can't. If he stayed with his original team, he could get that money. But for the Lakers, it's built in now. I mean, they get one of the best talents in the NBA at a $50, $60 million discount. You think that didn't factor in? They knew what time it was. Key says Rick Carlisle is underrated as a coach, maybe because he coaches in Indiana. People who watch the game know that he's a great coach. I just point to pace. All right, they have the best pace in the NBA. They had the best pace when he was in Dallas. He has a very distinctive coaching style that I believe originated when he was on the Boston Celtics. You know, that's how Boston played. That's how he likes to play. What's the kid they got from Gonzaga? Nimrod. That dude was a second-round pick. He looks like one of the best young guards in the league. They develop players. Indiana develops players, folks. And guess what? I'm gonna give you another name that you're gonna start hearing about. James Wiseman. Yes, he's under contract for 2 years. They're gonna develop James Wiseman. They are. And it's gonna be egg in the faces of Warrior fans. They're not gonna like it. Maybe management, but Indiana's gonna develop James Wiseman. Vicky says Trey Jackson-Davis is working on adding muscle this summer. He's a pretty big guy already, but I think he needs to get stronger. I think adding muscle is one thing, adding strength is something else. A guy like him should be able to bench 300 pounds. I would be surprised if he could bench 300 pounds. I don't think he can. But he should be able to, as big as he is, as young and as strong and athletic as he is. Because, like, lifting weights, dead weight, that builds up your shoulders and your forearms, which is what you need to play defense, post defense. Trey Jackson-Davis has all of the characteristics of a starting NBA player, even though he was drafted in the 50s. Now, you can't shoot under 70% from the line. I don't care what position you play, unless you are extraordinary. And Trey Jackson-Davis hasn't solved that problem. So if he gets fouled, he's only making one of every 2 free throws. That's not good enough. He has to get better. Vicky says, then trade all of that for Giannis. Warrior fans would go crazy. Key says, Karl Anthony Towns, every time I watch him, I feel disappointed. He got too much talent to stand behind the three-point line and disappear for long stretches of the game. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But here's the thing. Just because you're big, it doesn't mean that you're tough. I'm not going to call him soft. I'm not going to attack him. I'm just saying that certain players like the physical part of the game, and certain players don't. I don't think Cat really likes the physical part of basketball. I don't. I'm not going to call him soft. I'm not going to do that. I will say that he prefers to shoot outside than score on the inside. Maybe because he doesn't think his footwork is decent, but he actually has a nice little hook shot. I would love to see him absorb all of that physicality inside and dominate. No reason why he can't. Giovanni Villegas. Giovanni Villegas. Yo, Frank, what's up? Is Knicks Pacers series over? No, it's not over. No, I'm still watching. Will the Knicks win the series? I don't know. The tough thing for me as a Knicks fan is you don't look at the Knicks and go, they're going to get better with this current iteration of players. Last year, you could kind of sell that narrative. Guys are hurt. We're going to come back next year. Then we made a trade. We got Cat. But when you look at these guys now as a unit, they don't have a true small forward. They don't. They got two guys who are pretty good, who are good enough to win. If they had a center who was more physical on defense. Mitchell, they got two guys that kind of do two separate things. Mitchell Robinson is a hell of a defender, rebounder, but he's not much of an offensive player. Cat is not a great defender, and he wants to shoot outside. The Knicks have guys that can do that. They also miss Dante DiVincenzo. Frantic Rage, what's up? Looks like it might be a Pacers Thunders finals. Yep, and guess what? Television executives are going to cry. They listen. If that is the NBA Finals, it might be the lowest rated NBA Finals in the history of the NBA. I'm talking like the past 30 years, 30 plus years when ratings really mattered. That would be god awful. And it looks like more and more that's what it's going to be. That would be terrible. Vicky says, I can't bench 50 pounds. I can't imagine benching 300. What do you think my max was, Vicky? Anybody else? You guys want to guess my max? We brag a little bit. I'm a basketball player. I played football too. I played college football, and I started lifting when I got to college. Seems kind of stupid now to lift all that weight, but at one point I could lift a lot for a basketball player. What do you think it was? Post doesn't like physical play. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He likes getting paid, so you better start liking it. Vicky says, the Knicks will win the series if the Pacers forget to catch the play home. Giovanni Villegas says, 320. No, I lifted more than that. Yeah. Vicky says 275. No, more. Yeah. You guys want to know? No one else is guessing, so I tell you. 375 is my max. And 375, Giovanni. Yeah, 375. Crazy amount of weight. But yeah, I can't believe it, but yeah, I did. I mean, I think when you start lifting weights, the human body is amazing. It really is. And I was naturally strong, and I was able to do it. Nothing like that now. I wouldn't even dare to do that. I work out with between 205 and 225. That's what I'm working out with, just to do a lot of maintenance. It doesn't make any sense for me to try to lift that kind of weight. It doesn't make any sense. But it's funny though, because what I found is when you can lift a lot of weights and you're naturally strong as a basketball player, it is pretty empowering. It really is. And it really helps you with your post defense. I mean, when I was playing basketball, the only guys that could really like dominate me, they had to be NBA players, that good or that much taller. Nobody who wasn't on that level could barely score on me. So, I think that's why, I have so much respect for Draymond Green as a player, because Draymond is probably naturally strong, but his heart and his aggression and his technique compensates for a lot. He's done this for 13 years. Now, he hasn't played center for all those years, but I think when you take a step back, when Draymond's not playing anymore, and you look at his career in its totality, you're going to say, wow. When this guy's standing at the podium, getting ready to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, when you consider the myriad of roles that he's played in his career, most dominantly as a post defender, something special. It really is. I don't think he gets enough appreciation. I don't think people really understand how incredible his NBA career has been. Steph lifts 300 pounds. That's impressive. Keith says OKC is getting to the rim and the free throw line. The Wolves need to keep them to jump shots to have a chance. I'm just going to tell you, you know what? Minnesota's IQ collectively is just not high enough. Let's be honest. It's just not. They don't play a real smart brand of basketball collectively. It doesn't mean that individually they're not smart. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that their style of play is not cohesive enough. It's not cerebral enough. Their talent is there, but the game gets really hard. It gets really sticky for them. And that's hurting them and the interesting thing is, I think this is their moment. You don't look at Minnesota and go, they're going to get better next year. You don't. Mike Conley Jr. this is 18th year. 18th year. He's going to be a year older, and he's the best point guard you have on your team. Who would they have running the point next year? Julius Randle could very easily be on another team next year. Because I got to think that his main priority is getting the most money that he can get, as it should be, as a free agent on an NBA team. Everybody's not going to win a title. I don't know how much money San Antonio has, but he doesn't seem like a San Antonio Spurs player to me. Not at crazy money, but Julius Randle is a good player. It disappointed to watch him in game 2 shoot 2 for 11, have 6 points. Come on, man. Good players don't have those types of games. He's a really talented guy. That should not happen to him. All right. Hopefully, we have been able to provide a service to all wounded Knicks fans out there and touch on some other topics as well. The New York Knicks lose 114-109 to the Indiana Pacers. Game 3 is on Sunday. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a great lead into the next edition of the In the Dungeon Show. Hopefully you all will check us out again. If you listen to the program tonight, hopefully you've hit the like button. You've subscribed to the show. And you plan on checking us out on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific time. Or you might just watch the show whenever. I don't know when people watch the show, but it's out there on YouTube. Big up the Valkyries. Tremendous victory tonight over the LA Sparks. I'm excited about the W. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll open up the topic on Sunday, talk a little 49ers. I'm going to say this. The 49ers, to me, won the offseason. They did exactly what I wanted them to do. Sign your players. Fred Warner. Fred Warner is probably my favorite 49er. All he does is his job. Works his tail off. Kittle was probably number 2. I love Kittle. And those guys got paid late in their careers. I love that. I really do. Brock Purdy, I think they did what they needed to do. And if he's your guy, he's your guy. Go with it. Go out and win. I don't like to talk about rookies that much because I haven't broken the tapes down. Obviously seen the kid Williams out of Georgia. We'll see how he does. But the veterans I know. I know those guys. So I can talk about that. All right. Vicky has one comment. She says, thank you, Frank. Hit the like button. Yes, please do. Hit the like button. It helps. Let me do my thing and get out of here, and I'll talk to you on Sunday nights, everybody. My name is Frank Red. This is the In the Dungeon show. And success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. All right. I'll see you all in a couple of days. Everybody be safe and enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. And I'll talk to you later. All right. Peace out, everybody. Good night.